All right, we are now to the fun part. SEC baseball season is now here.
You're talking ball with the SEC squad. From Alabama to Tennessee, from Georgia to Oklahoma, from Auburn to Texas, it's the local experts of the Locked On Podcast Network bringing you scoops, breakdowns, and the most comprehensive preview of the upcoming SEC weekend. It's the SEC squad, and we have a seat for you. Hurt feelings and thin skins are prohibited. Squad up, you're part of the SEC squad.
Yes, SEC squad baseball edition. And finally, all of those non-conference series are out of here. The random series in Arlington against random teams, all that's behind us. Real college baseball starting this weekend. I'm Zach Blackerby. I host Locked On Auburn, joined by Stephen Willis, host of Locked On Ole Miss. Corey Burton, joining us from the beach, host of Locked On Vandy. Eric Kane, host of Locked On Vols. BK, Brad Kellner making his debut on the SEC baseball squad. He hosts Locked On Longhorns, and then Jimmy Stein, co-host of Locked On Bama. I think the first thing we do here is we all just take a second and just all be thankful that we don't talk about LSU baseball right now. Is that where we start?
Sure. Let's start there.
I mean, what is up with that squad? I mean, I think I was going to ask if anybody was surprised by anything this past weekend, but I assume that's what we would all lead with.
Listen to this. I mean, we have two LSU guys on our network. Neither one of them are here, okay? Chris Marler, who Bama fan, hosts the Carolina pod, lives in Baton Rouge. He's not on here. Corey's here. Vanderbilt's been a train wreck this year, but my guy Corey's here because he knows
the beach. He's on vacation.
He knows how to do some things.
I caught
John
Neighbors
Neighbors.
last night, so we're good.
John Neighbors is not here. Arkansas had a rough go about. I mean, Brandon Olson's not here. Florida needed a Hail Mary to avoid being swept by High Point. It was a rough weekend for the conference. I still think the conference is going to be okay, but it was a rough weekend.
Well, speak for yourself. I mean, Auburn went 4-0, and you got Brad Kellner down there who, he doesn't know what a loss in baseball feels like this year.
Well, I am surprised by something. I am surprised by the fact that LSU actually dropped in the rankings because it felt like they could lose every single game that they played but remain as a top 2 team in college baseball. So it's nice to see D1 baseball starting to watch these games, even though the season started a month ago, fellas.
That's a good point.
I watched the end of that game, that last game against Sacramento State. And I mean, that Sacramento State pitcher was throwing some heat. I mean, he was touching 85. I mean, it was amazing.
Yeah. Which Sacramento, not a state.
Not a state.
No, not a state.
Right state.
Corey, we cut you off twice just then. Sorry about that. What were you about to say?
It is all good, man. I was just saying that, hell, I'm glad Vandy might be able to break their slump against LSU.
Everybody needs a slump buster, Corey. Everybody needs a slump buster.
Hey, we're going to get one this weekend, I guess.
Yeah, somebody's going to win it. Somebody's going to win it.
Chris Gordy not here to defend his team. It's a shame.
Oh, that's right. We've got really 3 LSU guys in this.
Yeah. 3 LSU guys.
Yeah. Chris Gordy.
Not
you know, if
one of
LSU was doing well, Chris Gordy would be here for sure. Jimmy Stein, give us an update on Alabama.
Yeah, 5-0 this week, 14-3 overall. Yet, as I've said, each show thus far, there's still this feeling that they haven't put it all together, and there's a little bit of anxiety about SEC games starting. They start at Kentucky this upcoming weekend, but 5-0 this past week against outman teams. Starting pitching pretty good, hitting okay. Bullpen has been an issue, and that's against outman teams. So there's some nerves about how this team's going to hold up against SEC competition, which I have to believe is better than we think in some of this early going. So we'll see. How about nervously optimistic going forward for Alabama?
Yeah. Which, I mean, Kentucky, if you're going to open up against an SEC team, I think Kentucky's certainly gettable.
Well, yeah, particularly starting out on the road. You don't want to start out on the road against, BK's Texas bunch. You want to start off with a road series in which winning at least a game is highly realistic. I do like Alabama's starting pitching. It's coming around. They pitch a true freshman on Sundays, a kid named Miles Upchurch. He's going to be the real deal. He's probably been Alabama's best starter in the early going. Big kid, throws hard. He's going to be spectacular. Now, what's it going to look like against the SEC? We'll start finding out this weekend.
Yeah, who would want to open conference play against Texas, right, Stephen Willis?
Yeah. We go to Austin on the weekend. This past week we were 5-0. By the way, they were a little bit of struggle. The bats kind of woke up. Now they beat a very poor team, but apparently that's a difficult thing to do inside the conference. But you have this week an absolute ambush game, and then you have the number one team in the country in the Texas Longhorns road game against Southern Mississippi tonight.
Alabama got waxed at Hattiesburg. Or 14-3 got waxed at Hattiesburg.
Yeah, I don't know why you would agree to do that. Like, I understand, like, Ole Miss doing it, the in-state thing or whatever. I don't know why Alabama would choose to go to Hattiesburg to play baseball.
You've done it for probably 30 years.
Oh, really?
It's been a midweek. It's probably been going on for 30 years, and you're like 25-5. But when they're good or really good,
okay,
they're SEC good right now. I mean, but that's kind of more of a recent thing last few seasons.
Got it.
And Hattiesburg is about 2 hours away from Tuscaloosa.
Yeah, it's close. It's close.
Okay.
You can do
They
the
hosted
bus
the Super
ride
a couple years ago. 23.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
10
That's right.
there.
And hosted a regional last year in which Alabama lost to Southern Miss in the regional last year too.
Well, it's,
whenever Ole Miss won the national title in baseball, they had to play a super regional in Hattiesburg.
Yeah.
Well, it's all the money Brett Favre stole from those charities is going to the baseball program down there at Southern Miss.
They can't even grow grass. They can't even grow grass. They have a fully turf field. In South Mississippi, they can't grow grass. I don't understand.
Who would have a fully turf field? Nobody I know.
If I could on the TV in that Texas, if that Texas field is fully turf, as with as much money as they have, there will be judgment.
No, they gave all the money to Cam Coleman. So they don't have any money anymore.
Yeah,
you're right.
Hey, Vanderbilt's fully turf. I don't know,
Yeah, but y'all hang like bowling national championships at a bowling alley in Smyrna, Tennessee. So that's Vanderbilt.
I mean, you got to
let's jump into some of the important series. We touched on Ole Miss, Texas a little bit, but there's several throughout the conference this weekend. Let's take a stab at that next, right here on the SEC Baseball Squad. Today's show brought to you by our friends at Robinhood. What if sports were traded like markets? Now you can put your sports IQ to work in real time with Robinhood prediction markets. It's not you against the house. It's you participating in a live market. You can buy or sell your positions live all game long. Use your sports knowledge in the moments that matter. Robinhood prediction markets changes the game. It's people moving the action. So when momentum shifts, you can move with it. You're no longer just a spectator. Play by play, you decide. Trade every play with Robinhood. Now available across the U.S. Download the Robinhood app now to begin.
I want to tell you guys about Intuit TurboTax. It is tax time, but for a lot of us, the old way of doing taxes, well, it's a lot, right? Trying to book an appointment that's not the most convenient, sitting in a waiting room with a stack of papers, emailing back and forth, wondering if they're truly getting what your situation really is. But this year, you get a major upgrade. Intuit TurboTax now has in-person locations nationwide. You can meet face-to-face with a real tax expert. Your documents can get uploaded straight to your TurboTax app on the spot. And just like that, you're done. Your TurboTax expert works to get you every dollar you deserve while you get real-time notifications as you go about your day. It's the relief of walking in and meeting with a real person and walking out with your taxes being handled the right way. Head on over to turbotax.com/local to find a store near you and book your appointment today.
Today's show also brought to you by our friends at FanDuel. I don't know if you guys have looked at these lines. When you look at the future betting lines for college baseball, LSU still the odds-on favorite. Brad Kellner in shambles right now. He doesn't even know what to say. At plus 600, UCLA right behind him. That makes sense. Arkansas plus 1,200. Texas plus 1,200. Mississippi State plus 1,500. Georgia plus 1,900. And then the best value pick of them all, gentlemen, the Auburn Tigers at plus 2,200 to win the College World Series. Head to FanDuel.com to get started. That's FanDuel. FanDuel, play your game. Thank you so much for making all of our SEC shows your first listen every single day. Check out one of our other shows for your second listen. We all really, really appreciate it. Who wants to talk about their series this weekend?
I do, because you didn't even talk to me in segment number one. I mean, all these teams lost, and Tennessee did lose on Sunday. It was kind
I
of
do feel like
embarrassing.
you talked for a minute, though. My bad.
I was making fun of everybody's teams that lost and not really talking about my team.
You came out taking some swings, and I appreciate that. That's not typically you. Little fiery
this
today.
week's Chris Marler.
Yeah, well,
yeah, he is.
All right, I'm out. I'll see you guys later.
No,
I bet you don't like
didn't
Paradise Island either.
Tennessee fell on Sunday 6-0, shutout fashion, pretty embarrassing. Wright State, much like Kent State, very, very superior group of 5, right? But no, Wright State obviously,
and also not a state.
Not a state. It's not a state. Good ball club. Tennessee won a couple one-run games, but took the week 4 and 1. Still stayed the same in the D1 baseball poll. Somehow dropped 2 spots in all the other polls. Don't really understand that. But I talked about it last week, man. Like, I love Tennessee's starting pitching. I love Tennessee's bullpen. Kind of like the Atlanta Braves after the string of 14 straight divisional titles before they got good again under Snit. They were still in a lot of years because they had good pitching, right? That's kind of what Tennessee is right now, allowing the offense to play catch up. That offense has got to catch up. You're hitting 268 as a team. Tennessee's offense atrocious, last in the league in average, runs, bases, RBI, on base. So I have some concerns going down to Athens, Georgia this weekend to begin SEC play. 56 home runs for Georgia. They're second in slugging, second in average to Mississippi State, I think. A really, really good club. It's going to be a dogfight. But again, I think because of Tennessee's pitching, it's going to keep them in every single game. They're going to have a chance. So I think the bats will come around. The pitching's been good, but it's time to wake up because SEC plays here.
And there's a chance that a lot of these teams just like that haven't played the level of competition. I mean, that's been a big thing I've talked about on Locked on Auburn, previewing Auburn going to Missouri. Missouri's got a really impressive record, but they've played no one.
Yeah.
And they've lost to a few teams that they had no business losing to. So I don't know what to think about some of these teams because there's a handful of them in the SEC where their record looks good. Jimmy, I'm not saying Bama's like this, but you've kind of referred to that with, with Bama's schedule too. Like, I mean, there's several teams that haven't played an SEC caliber team yet. So that's one that's super interesting to me, obviously, because I cover Auburn, but also I want to see who Missouri is.
Yeah, I feel like Alabama's played 17 games, and I'm not really sure what they are. There's been some really good, as you would expect, against outman teams, and there's been some inconsistency. The losses, they've lost 3 games. One was at Southern Miss. That's tough. Another one was in a neutral site game to Houston, and they're pretty good. But I don't know what to expect this weekend against Kentucky. I just know it's going to get tougher.
All right, we finally have somebody to talk LSU. Chris Gordy, Locked on SEC. What's up with LSU?
They're struggling to hit. I mean, it's crazy. Friday night, they had this offensive eruption, and everybody thought, okay, here they go. And Saturday and Sunday, they combined to go 9 for 66. Now, I think my math tells me that they batted 136 as a team in Saturday and Sunday games. So their pitching's been fine. Starting pitching, the Friday, Saturday, Sunday starters have been fine. They're still trying to find those midweek guys, but this offense is nowhere near where it was a year ago. And so, look, I've watched a bunch of the SEC teams this year. Everybody just kind of seems out of sorts outside of Texas and a few, Mississippi State, some of the teams at the top. Auburn's been impressive. Kentucky's been impressive. But no, I mean, some of the teams that were supposed to be really good this year, I mean, Vandy was supposed to be really good, but they're just struggling to find their identity now. And the timing is we're about to start SEC play, boys, and we're about to find out who's for real.
Mm-hmm.
Who's concerned going into this? Go ahead, Corey. Sorry.
I was going to say, LSU and Vandy are going to figure that out real quick because LSU's struggling, Vandy's struggling. Vandy has no identity, like Chris said. Hit the nail on the head there. They beat up on all these bad teams, and then they lose games they shouldn't, like Central Arkansas, or they drop to a 1-13 North Dakota State team on Sunday, or things like that, and they get smoked out there in Las Vegas in the Live Like Lou Classic, where they get swept, and I think they went like 1 of 19 with runners in scoring position, something like that. It was something atrocious. And then, just starting pitching is okay. Bullpen is up and down. Like, you just can't figure anything out. And I think, it's gonna be a problem, but they can get right this weekend against LSU. Maybe they struggle a little bit less than LSU and get a little bit of confidence.
Yeah. Is anybody concerned about their team going into conference play this weekend? Okay. All right. So for those listening, Stephen Willis of Locked On Ole Miss raised their hand. Corey of Vandy raised his hand. Eric of Tennessee raised his hand. Jimmy Stein of Bama raised his hand. Eric, remind me who Tennessee plays this weekend?
On the road to Georgia.
That's right. Georgia's kind of tricky, too.
Yeah,
Lot of
Georgia has
Good-
played
good luck in
absolutely
Williamsport.
nobody, but
Yeah.
really impressive.
Yeah. They jack some balls out of that little park.
Yeah, I think it's
Brad
280
Kellner,
down the
seeing
line or something.
Steven of Locked On Ole Miss raise his hand as they take on Texas. What does that make you feel?
Very good. I mean, you guys are talking about schools I've never heard of. Usually you're supposed to beat those crappy schools, but I don't know why it's so difficult for y'all to take down the Sacramento States, the North Dakota States.
Not
the
a state.
these
North
schools
Dakota
aren't
is
even
a state.
states
That
that
is
you're
true.
talking about.
Is it?
For Texas, look, I think Ole Miss, there's a chance Ole Miss is the best team Texas has played this year. They did play Coastal Carolina, who obviously finished runner-up to LSU last year, but that's a Coastal team that's dealt with a lot of injuries that just hasn't been very good early on. I think Texas will be fine this weekend, but Zach, I'll give your Auburn guys some love. Texas has not played a true road game yet. They played a series in Houston at Daikin Park, but every other game has been at home. So Auburn next weekend, I think we're going to learn a lot about these SEC teams who have played 90+% of their games at home so far. When teams start to travel, I think that's going to separate the men from the boys. So I think Texas is really good regardless, but that's sort of the one real test that they haven't passed yet is having to go on the road into a hostile environment. Obviously, they'll get their chance to do that next weekend while a bunch of other SEC teams are doing that starting on Friday.
Brad talking about schools we don't know. I didn't know UTSA had a baseball program until they took out Texas in Austin last postseason.
Hey,
so.
UTSA's ranked right now, all right? All these other schools, anyone LSU is losing to is nowhere close to the top 25 right now.
I'll tell you this, though. Of all the big Friday night arms, that the SEC's always loaded with big arms. Ruger Riojas from Texas he's the real deal. I got to see him in person. And, look, Hunter Elliott at Ole Miss, Kason Evans at LSU, I think those guys will get better as the year goes along, but Riojas, hands down, he's the one guy I would not want to have to face right now.
Yeah.
You know what, Gordy? Cade Townsend, the Saturday starter for Ole Miss, 0.48 ERA this season for Ole Miss.
I saw him shut down Ohio State a couple weeks ago in person. He was awesome.
Yeah,
I feel like that's pretty good
for the season. Yeah, he's got electric stuff. That is the game. If Ole Miss can go 2-2 this week with the road game at Southern and the weekend series at Texas, if they can somehow find 2 wins this week, this baseball team is going to be pretty good.
All right. Anybody got any final parting thoughts or shots or anything as we wrap up this week's SEC baseball squad?
I'm disappointed we didn't have John Neighbors here. I mean, Mississippi State at Arkansas is an incredible top 5, matchup for this early in the year. And Brian O'Connor, man, he was so good for so many years at Virginia. You knew he was going to get it going at Mississippi State. It looks like they're off and running right out of the gates. And so this is a big test for them going up there. And Arkansas, man, always the bridesmaid, never the bride. We've gone through this stretch of all these SEC teams taking turns winning national championships. Arkansas had their chance about a decade ago, and they dropped that fly ball, and they blow it. But the question is, will Dave Van Horn ever get back there? This team right now that Arkansas has is as good a chance of any. And if they can take 2 out of 3 against Mississippi State, that'll be a fantastic start for them.
Yeah, is that the most important series this weekend? I'm fascinated by Texas and Ole Miss, but that one probably is the most. Probably is the most important.
Ranking wise, I would imagine that's like top 5, I believe.
Mississippi State is the second best team I've seen in person this year. But I've seen UCLA play twice. No, 3 times in person. UCLA's pretty good.
They swept the SEC that weekend, right?
Yeah, and they needed 10 innings to get State on Sunday, but that was a great baseball game a couple weeks ago.
Yeah.
Anyway, I'm saying Mississippi State I think is legit. I thought they were a bit overrated in the offseason, but I don't know, man. I think they're pretty good.
Give some love to Florida, too. Florida, I saw them play Miami 2 weeks ago, and they beat them in their first 2. And then the third game, Miami's like, hey, it looks like rain. Maybe we cancel the third game of the series. So Florida's really good, too.
Yep.
Yeah, and that 4-run ninth to beat High Point to avoid being swept, that was pretty cool, too.
5 walks. Great discipline. Play discipline. Yeah.
All right, this has been another edition of the SEC Baseball Squad. Brad Kellner of Locked On Longhorns, Chris Gordy, Locked On SEC, Jimmy Stein, Locked On Bama, Eric Haynes, Locked On Vols, Corey Burton, Locked On Vandy, Stephen Willis, Locked On Ole Miss. I'm Zach Blackerby. I host Locked On Auburn. We'll see you next time. This has been the Locked On SEC Baseball Squad.
Squad.
Yeah.